Okay. So the last couple days, I've been heavily involved with not only following the George Floyd case as it's unfolded, but also just checking the mainstream media and seeing what they're reporting in regards to the looting, the riots, the protests. And I was very curious about what I found, not only from American citizens, but from policemen. So I decided to sit down, gather my thoughts, and really come to you guys and have this conversation and see if you was feeling the same way I'm feeling. I saw a sheriff go on CNN, and the sheriff was outraged. He was pissed off. And during the conversation, the commentator was basically telling the sheriff to calm down. The sheriff was screaming that the reason for his anger, the reason why he was speaking out the way he was, is because Black Lives Matter is killing policemen. The organization Black Lives Matter is killing policemen, and no one wants to talk about it. So I sat down and I thought about why he believed that Black Lives Matter was killing police officers. And I started doing my research. I started looking at some things or whatever case to be. I did run across that 3 police officers were killed in Baton Rouge. 3 more was wounded. But some type of way, this policeman ordained that because this is the aftermath of George Floyd dying, that Black Lives Matter was the cause of these policemen dying. And this was an actual black sheriff that was talking. I was taken back by that. I was taken back because during the interview with the sheriff on CNN, he began to be very irate. He began to be uncivil, as the commentator said. He said, "Hey, I just want to have a conversation with you and get your take on, everything that's going on." And as he sat there, he overtalked the commentator. He was very aggressive with the commentator. And I just wondered, I paused the interview and I sat back. I said, imagine meeting this police officer at 10:30 at night when your little kids or your wife or your husband is in a car and he pulls you over. This officer who is now uncivil, having a bad night. And he decides that he wants to overtalk you. He decides that he wants to promote his authority over you. Imagine how powerless an American citizen would feel at that moment. This is to all of the policemen and policewomen out there. We, as American people, understand that you just want to get home at night, to hug your children, to tuck them in bed, to have dinner with them, to play with them, to read with them. We understand that you want to get home to your wives, to your husbands, to your dog. And that's the same thing that we are asking for as American people. We want to get home to our wives, to our husbands, to our dog, to our children, so we can play with them, so we can tuck them in, so that way we can be safe. The same way that you signed up to be policemen and women, because it's your profession and it's dangerous. You got to understand that a lot of American citizens feel like because of the color of their skin, it's dangerous for them and they just want to get home. There has to be a moment of clarity. There has to be some realism to the conversation. And this is where we want to mesh both policemen and women and the American citizens together. Today, we want to have a conversation about tough love. Today, we want to mend the gap between racism, police brutality, and the American citizen. The question has come up, does Black Lives Matter? The question has also come up, does all lives matter? And right now the question is, what lives matter? What lives matter? Do blue lives matter? Do the policemen have the right to convey authority in an aggressive tone? Do they have the right to put their knees on your neck while you're screaming and squirming and saying, I can't breathe? Right now, I'm having a conversation about when is enough enough? When is enough enough? I want somebody to share this and have somebody come in here and help me have this conversation. When is enough enough? When do you realize that, you know what, man? I am policing people in these communities that are not bad people. They're good people. They're hardworking people. They're citizens. They're students. They're husbands. They're wives. They're children. We can't have policemen going to neighborhoods, slamming little kids on the ground, detaining little kids without contacting their parents, treating people as if they're not citizens. This is a conversation for police officers right now. Weigh in. The people that are speaking for you, policemen and women, are making you guys look bad. When you get on any type of mainstream media and you say the reason why policemen are dying is because Black Lives Matter, that movement is causing policemen to die. Well, my whole thing about it is this movement has bursted, has erupted, has tipped the scales because a black man has died. And America has watched it. And those who feel that not only was it unnecessary, this murder was unnecessary, but they look at this situation and say, dude, enough's enough. I am not going to allow myself, my family, my friends, or anybody else to be taken by this type of brutality. And as a person, not even as a policeman, you got to look at this situation and say, do they have a right to be mad? So for you as a policeman to get online and tell people the reason why people are dying now is because the Black Lives Matter organization is irresponsible, is disrespectful. So as a black man, I must speak up. I must talk to you right now, and not only on behalf of a black man. Our communities are tired of being targeted. You have good people. You have American soldiers. Myself being a veteran who's been in the Army for 20 years. So when I'm driving in my car and I get pulled over and you treat me as if this car is stolen, you want to ask me where I'm going and where I'm headed to when it's none of your business? This is an opportunity for you as a police officer to take a step back and see it from the eyes of the citizens you say that you protect. There are bad police officers out there. There are bad police officers out there. I want you to share this. There are bad police officers out there taking advantage of people because they have a badge, they have a gun, and they have backup. They have the authority to do things when people are not looking that will traumatize kids, that will throw innocent men and women in jail. And 9 times out of 10, they won't have the legal aspect or the legal reach to be able to get out of jail. So now that goes on your record. God forbid if one of those policemen are having a bad day and they decide to touch you and you remove their arm. Now you're resisting arrest. Now you've assaulted a police officer, which adds to more charges. The question is, how do we fix this? When does the communication start? When does someone sit down and say, man, you know what? As a police officer, no, I'm not going to go into this community and I'm not going to harass these people. I'm going to talk to them. I'm not going to elevate force. I'm not going to have 16 police cars pull up, because I just stopped this one car for a taillight, supposedly. People are afraid. And when you have people afraid, they attack. Policemen, if you want to get home safe, if you want to get back to your family, to have that family time, if you want to have a wholesome career, you got to do better. You got to police your own self. If there are bad policemen and you are aware of bad policemen, you see something that don't look right, don't fit right, don't sit right with your spirit for those people that believe in a higher power, you got to say something. You got to do something. You got to get in the way. You have to become, hey, I'm a policeman, but I'm a human. I'm a person. And I realize that what's happening right now is unnecessary. The reason why people are screaming out, the reason why people are looting and screaming and yelling and hollering, and they are tired of being tired. And you can't be standing by and watching nonsense. You can't just let things go and hope that it gets better. Somebody said, do you expect a police officer to tell another police officer they are going too far on the spot? You damn right I expect it. I also expect the police officer, before they go too far, to realize, hey, let's chill. You are the peace officer. You're not drinking. You're not smoking. You're not high. It's you. You're emotional. You're supposed to be in control of the situation. This is what your training allows you to do. This is what your conversation skills, your communication skills allow you to do to de-escalate a situation. How is it that the police are not in control? You're not in control of a 15-year-old. You're not in control of a 10-year-old. You're not in control of people that don't have the training that you have. How does it go to the point where you as a police officer feel the only way to win this conversation is to put your knee on someone's neck, to put someone in a chokehold, to slam someone to the ground, to smack around somebody, to tase somebody? We got to understand what's happening. We skip straight from conversation to aggression. We skip from greetings to crazy anger. Policemen, you need to do better. I challenge you as a black man. I challenge you as an American citizen. I challenge you as a United States Army veteran to do better, to speak better, to learn your craft, to understand how to de-escalate a situation, to understand that we as Black America, we as citizens, we as minorities, we as people, we as humans, we do not want to feel like we are under attack. We're under siege. We are Taliban members. To hear policemen say that no one is talking about other policemen dying on a daily basis, but we're worrying about why Black Lives Matter, blew my mind. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. To have policemen say this brutality is not happening in our city, and my badge is still clean because it's not stained with the blood of whoever died, shows a lack of concern. Is disrespectful to not only the families of the people that died, but to the victims of that community. Police officers, you have people representing you that is getting on mainstream live television and networks that are saying Black lives don't matter. That are saying because the police brutality didn't happen within their station, there's no conversation to be had. And I'm telling you straight up, you're wrong. I'm telling you right now that if you are a police officer and that you're in the midst of something, here's the thing. If something happens and we call it police brutality, let's just say there is no keen racism, but it is a fault of a policeman that someone has died, then all must say something. There is no time to be quiet. There is no time to fall back. Everybody must say something. Everybody must speak on it. And when you speak on it in a manner of saying that I am a high-ranking officer, a police officer, and I believe that the reason why cops are dying is Black Lives Matter. My thing about it is I was told that Black Lives Matter should be considered a terrorist group. But the KKK should not be. Black Lives Matter, if you guys know, probably, I want to say in the past decade or so, was invented, right? By 3 women, I believe. The KKK has been around, I believe, since the Civil Rights Movement, before the Civil Rights Movement. And for some reason, that has withstand the test of time. No one has said, let's make this a terrorist group. Now, I done been to Iraq twice. I done been to Afghanistan twice. And for some reason, KKK that white supremacy never made it to the top of the list. But now the Black Lives Matter because people are tired of being tired. They're tired of being put against walls. They're tired of being investigated. They're tired of being slammed to the ground. They're tired of being abused. They're tired of the brutality. Now Black Lives should be considered a terrorist group. I'm telling people to stay vigilant. I'm telling people to make sure that they're having conversations with their children, with their loved ones, with their friends, with their colleagues, to make sure that when policemen stop you, you have a routine. You know who to call. You know if you need to record something. You know how to speak. If you have weapons, you know how to identify those weapons. You are safe. For the good police officers out there, man, we applaud you. We appreciate you because we know it's not all. You see what I'm saying? There's a level of respect to this situation, and we realize it is not all police officers. It is some police officers. And those some are the bad apples that you need to help us weed out. And if you're talking and you're speaking up and speaking out, great, awesome. But for the people that's not speaking out and you're allowing your police officer buddy, whether man or woman, to go and terrorize the community, we're going to feel nothing when people terrorize, when the community terrorizes you. We're going to feel nothing when someone says another bad cop has bit the dust. We're going to feel nothing. If you don't protect us, we're going to protect ourselves. That's what this whole George Floyd aftermath is. The protection, the bystander, the person that says, if you think we're just going to lay down, if you don't think that we're going to have the intestinal fortitude to bear our own arms, to speak up, to intervene, you're wrong. And it puts good police officers in harm's way because of bad police officers. Bad police officers, you need to go home. You need to leave. You don't need to be a policeman. So I challenge the mayors, I challenge the governors, I challenge the Senate, I challenge the president, I challenge anyone that's in a position to have good policemen to make sure that they have good policemen. This is an opportunity for us. This is an opportunity for us, the community, to speak out and say, listen, we're tired of being tired. We're tired of police brutality. We're tired of operating on this whole fear mechanism. Speak up. Speak up. So for those officers that speak about how bad the black community is, let me ask you something. Where do you think these drugs are coming from? What black people don't own no planes. They don't own no boats, no ships like that. So where do you think all of these drugs are coming from? And why is it that even if we go city by city, we take all the policemen, we take all the army personnel or military personnel, and we go into a community, and for those people identified as drug dealers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you get rid of all of them. You clean up the entire community. We're not doing none of that. For some reason, you think about all of the ghettos, the projects, and all of the bad places that people say, I can't go down there. I ain't going down there. Why is it that they are allowed to exist? Why is it that kids are growing up in fear? That gang violence is at an all-time high. The people that you should be policing are the people that's breaking the law. Not just your regular average citizen. The people that's breaking the law. The people that right now, if you wanted to tap into their phones, you can see what they're doing. You can use the cameras in the local area to see that area, to see people selling drugs, see people selling guns. As a American citizen, we are not stupid. We are not stupid. There's a reason why drugs are being allowed in certain communities to fester, to destroy, to pick apart the roots of black communities. Now, somebody would say, well, why don't these black people just move out of the community? Good question. With what money? With what money? Because here's the thing, even if you do a petty crime, you're going to get 5 to 10 years. Then you're going to get out of jail, and then you're going to try to find a job, a good job, with benefits, and you're not going to be able to get it. So you're stuck in a community that you're trying to escape. It's all about reform. It's all about legislation. And the thing about it is, these are the things that our politicians, these are the things that our leaders, for some reason, are not doing. Aren't you concerned that we just had a black president? Now we got Donald Trump. Why are we not saying the war against drugs is simple? We're going to go into each neighborhood that has been identified as bad or toxic and clean it up. I'm putting y'all on notice right now. We're going to go into these neighborhoods and we're going to actually clean it up to allow the black communities to thrive. Are you not curious why that's not happening? Think about it. In the suburbs, you don't really have that much crime. We're going to go down into these wards. We're going to go down into these projects and all of these bad places, and we're going to police that up. We're going to clean up the streets. We're going to tear down these abandoned buildings. We're going to increase the school system. We're going to actually have money flowing into those community centers to help those children. What are we fighting for? I don't need you to police me in the suburbs. I need you to go down to the places where people got guns and they're basically controlling the neighborhood. We need good cops. And they probably would say they need good citizens. But I'm telling you right now, we have more good citizens than bad citizens. And for those good citizens, you don't need to treat us as if we're bad citizens. It's not throw us all in one bunch. If you don't want to be thrown in all one bunch in reference to the police force, don't throw all the citizens in one bunch. Match the energy that's given to you. There's no need to pull people over and be hostile. There's no need to embarrass people and put people in chokeholds. There's a way to handle things, and you guys are trained to handle things accordingly. So there's no reason to escalate a situation that don't need to be escalated. And you got to understand that when you arrest someone and you decide to say, I'm going to throw these handcuffs, you're under arrest. Half the time you violate their Miranda rights anyway, if you actually read them. And then they go down to these jails and get something on their record that's like nonsense that you wouldn't go into the regular white American communities and do to their kids. But you would do it in the black communities. And then you give them a public defender and then you tell them to plea. Take 1 or 2 years, take 2 to 3 years out of their life and throw things on their record. So now they're forced to not get a good job. There's a conversation that needs to be had with the police and the American citizens. And I'm hoping that today we started that conversation. Feel free to share this. Feel free to provide your own commentary. But what I want to tell you guys is that it's not all. It's the bad people that do bad shit that we need to address. It's not all. But if you stand by and you watch shit happen, if you are a bystander to negative bullshit and you don't do anything about it, you are part of the problem. If you do nothing, if you stay silent, that goes for policemen, that goes for citizens. Whether you're black, white, or brown, minorities across the board, we need to do more to speak out and actually take action. Adult up. Deuces.